And I'll start with a little release practice for the neck, dropping the head down, rolling it to the sides, moving slowly at the rhythm of the breath, staying for a bit on each side to stretch if you want. Do it your own way. I do it very slowly, and at the rhythm of the breath. Sometimes you might need to open your mouth a little to relax your jaws. Neck rolls are also a good trick to calm down your breath. If you come, not in this case, but if you come from an intense part of the practice where somehow your breath got worked up, you pause for a moment and you begin to move slowly your neck and you attract the breath to the movement rhythm until the breath slows down. To stretch the back of the neck, try to straighten your back very clean so you isolate the stretch only on the neck. I'm doing it in this case by placing my hands on the floor behind me. And then to stay on the proper side stretch of the neck, the same. You want to have the opposite shoulder grounded, very clean. So I'm holding it with the opposite hand behind the back. You can just plant your hand on the floor. But we give a nice stretch to the right side of the neck. And then a nice stretch to the left side of the neck. We recover the straight position for the back. And then I'm gonna get a little bit into the lumbar spine. So at the rhythm of the breath, usually starting with an exhale, dropping the belly button towards the back, sitting further back towards your tailbone and the back of the sit bones. Then the next inhalation, bringing the belly button, no, the belly button forward and rolling over the seat bones towards its front. And then alternating this movement, but instead of just kind of get bored of it and just move as quickly as we can, like really slowing it down, bringing it into the breath and finding nuance. I find first the lower back somehow is my sensitive spot and it's maybe a little more difficult to connect with it. But once it feels like it's moving, then that same wave you want to travel it throughout the rest of the spine. So the movement becomes a little bigger, involving your upper abdomen, your chest. And then we begin to also move it towards the sides to massage the hips with the movement itself, drawing circles around your perineum, let's say. And similar to before, more center on the clarity of the movement than on the speed, moving really slowly, moving with the breath, and increasing the movement in range, in size, only when the previous circle felt comfortable. And then I'm going to allow a little bit of improvising just to get into the upper spine. And I do this by creating resistance with my hands against my legs and allowing the upper body to dance a little with my attention on the way my upper back is moving, on the way my upper spine is moving. Then free the shoulders a little bit. I am moving not in a predetermined pattern. You can move as you like. I'm moving with the breath, but I'm kind of playing with different variations. Just to feel that sense of mobility in the upper back between the shoulder blades, connected with the neck, connected with the lumbar spine, so the whole thing feels like a unity, like a very fluid unity, rather than different parts. We drop the left arm on the floor to open up a side stretch on the right. The attention will go mainly to the space between the right hip and the bottom of the ribcage on the right, and try to move the breath in that direction. With the left hand, you are also setting the left shoulder. Remind yourself, draw a beautiful external rotation. And we try to carry the line from the hip to the hand, following a middle way of effort without indulging either in too muchness, but also without feeling empty and absent. We move to the other side. Set your right shoulder, externally rotate it. Set the line of the left side of the body. And then we move breath to play with the flesh between left hip and left shoulder. And also worth mentioning, on the other side you have a compression. So you are also invited to feel how the breath is pushing even a higher degree of pressure on the right kidney, on the ascending part of the colon on the right. Breathe, feel, enjoy. Let's go for the twist. I usually keep my left hand behind me to maintain the length of the spine. Entering and exiting the positions a couple of times before I commit to maintain the posture and then breathe into it. It's something I do sometimes to begin an asana with a dynamic preamble and then commit to it and fully breathe it. And let's go to the other side. Make sure that you're sitting in between your hips. It's very easy in this position to lean towards the right in this case. So this introduction with a little bit of movement and a little bit of fidgeting within the breath is for you to find that central line that feels satisfying, that feels harmonious. Then to grow into the asana without urgency, exploring your muscular potential, exploring the resistance that your flesh opposes to your muscular potential, and then have the breath mediate between the two. Be steady, be patient, be present. We go back to center, we massage the hips, the lower back, the shoulders, the upper back with a little bit of movement. You can improvise a bit if you want. And then we are gonna get into the opening of the chest and the shoulders with a little sequence that has become part of my daily routine as well. So we bring the hands behind ourselves with the fingers pointing forward, and we engage the arms pushing into the hands. But then we alternate from the right to the left, really feeling the elasticity in motion of all the layers and all the tissues that form the right shoulder, inquiring into the resistance and the flexibility of each shoulder independent. And then we try to link the movement in a somewhat circular pattern. We fall in the center between the hands. We rise into the one side. We move through the top to the other side. And then at some point it's going to feel nice to keep that central position at the top. Lift the heart. Expand the space around the collarbones. Create space between the shoulders. And then give ourselves in this position a few big inhalations. This is a place to inhale big. Calm. Sometimes we inhale big and then it creates a sense of urgency. Measure the quality of your inhales by the quality of the exhale that follows. We return to sitting position, we straighten up the back, and we are going to settle for a breath practice.